back to the SML podcast, playing the field with Field General 007. We're back. Long hiatus, whatever you want to call it. We're back. Today we're just going to cover some pretty basic topics, nothing too long. Don't have anyone hopping on the podcast, kind of just a welcome back type show. First news we're just going to cover just some basic, taking a look at the standings, seeing who's doing what out there, and we're just going to go ahead and just going to cut to that right now. If you take a look at what's going on here, just take a look at it. Take a look at it. The game of the week right here. Two of the best teams, and that kind of answers the question, who is the best team in the SML right now? It's a tie. It's a tie between the Bears and the Seahawks, and they tied two teams so good they could not beat each other. It was overtime. Comment below if they were in a rematch, such as, in the playoffs somewhere, divisional or NFC Conference Championship, because there, a tie is not good enough. They will have a fight to the death in overtimes. If it took 2, 3, or 16 of them, we would have a win, or we'd have a winner somewhere in there. So, who do you think would win? Comment below. If you take a look at the standings, things have not changed much at all. Your big hitters are still there. Empire, the Chargers, having a good season, 8-2. The Bills are still right there, 8-2. The Jags and Colts, 7-3. The Dolphins at 7-2, and of course, the Steelers are 6-4. It's a newer owner though. The NFC, things have not changed a whole lot there either. The Bears, Seahawks, like I said, tied for the best record in the SML. The Cowboys, terrible two-step right there. Lawyer killer right there. Fuzzy making a charge, leading the wild card spot there, and the Giants meets. Although Saquad's Barkley is done, the Giants may be in some trouble without Saquad's, so we'll see what happens there. On the bubble, of course, there's always a litany of teams vying for a playoff spot. Stats-wise, rushing leaders, rushing must be the thing in this Madden, because just look at it. Todd Gurley's 800 yards, Fournette almost 800 yards, McKinnon, Kamara, just go right on through it. I don't know who this OC Reed is. I'm not too familiar. Oh, the Patriots. The Patriots playing some cheese out there, everybody. The Patriots. Almost a 1,000-yard receiver. So, cheese, perhaps. Interceptions thrown. I'll be on this list before too long. I'm climbing up the scoreboard, the leaderboards, and of course some old articles. You guys need to get more involved. We need to get some guys doing some stuff out here. Daddy League's not looking that impressive. But we're going to talk about some predictions here. We're going to talk about it. We're just going to lay it out there. My too early predictions, because I don't even know who's doing what. If I'm not mistaken, the Colts won the last SML Super Bowl. And of course, the Bears Seahawks are tied for the top team, and they can't play each other in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say the Colts are going to make it back to the Super Bowl. They're going to play the Seahawks, and the Colts will win the game. Although the Seahawks and Bears are both having a fantastic season. I'm about to get smoked by Graham here in a few weeks, so I'm ready for it. I've got my lube handy. That way every team can just bend me over and take me to Pound Town. I mean, it's the dog pound, but that's not really the pounding that we thought was going to go on. Regardless, we're back. We're going to see what happens. We're going to try to guide the Browns at least to a 500 record. I do not want a losing record, so 8-8. I think that would be a decent salvage of the season. I mean, the offensive line blows. I've got one offensive lineman that's over 90. I think one other offensive lineman's above 80. Other than that, they're trash. Absolutely trash. The Browns are the toilet team of the SML right now. We are on the downward spiral. We're not as good as the last Browns owner, but we're going to try to make a splash. We're going to try to talk trash. We're going out there to get it. We're trying to make things exciting. Make the SML great again. That's what we're trying to do, and I don't know if we can, but we're going to do the best we can with the Browns. Anyway, we're enough mumbling, enough jabbering here. One other topic we're going to talk about. I talk about it a lot. I talk about every opportunity I can. And it's, how is this Madden? How is this Madden? Well, I'm going to tell you how it is. It's inconsistent. Inconsistency is the word I would use to describe this Madden. It's just not that good. When you play it, it just doesn't feel crisp. It's very inconsistent. Like one week your defense would be really good, another week it sucks, which that's kind of realistic. I can live with that, except I feel like your good players on your defense, when you got a 97, 98 overall defensive lineman or corner, they should play like that. You know, not every single play, but they should at least be bringing it somewhere in there. At least one play, the defender should jump up and contest a pass, or you should get some type of edge rush. I guess the biggest inconsistency is obviously the offensive line play. So when you got guys that are doing the pass rush aggressive, bringing a lot of outside pressure, basically anything that you can, just rushing 3 men. There's videos on YouTube, check it out. Three linemen. So you should instantly have, you know, double teams, at least 2 for the rushers there, and there's just videos where they're coming free. It's excuse me, it's asinine the way that the blocking schemes work and how quick that pressure gets there on a consistent basis. It starts in practice mode. I mean, even in practice mode, you can't get good pass protection. So pass protection, I think, is the biggest lack of consistency. This Madden, you see a lot of missed throws, which I'm not really against that. You know, it's realistic, but I think they miss too many like drag routes and simple things like that. Also, you know, I've complained before about screens. A lot of people, you know, obviously that those were OP before. A lot of people would spam screens, but now you really don't have anything to neutralize a blitz because the blitz was already coming, and screen blocking's always been broke anyway. So if someone covered your screen, the pressure's coming. You know, you could always get a decent either it's gonna be a sack or a big play on the screen, you know, and now you can't really play that that cat and mouse type game because they've ruined screens this year. The blocking is absolutely terrible, and you just don't get the plays. A lot of times they'll either throw it, it'll hit a lineman, it'll hit the back of the receiver, or the play just never sets up. So to me, it's disappointing. You know, screens have been a huge part of Madden forever, and they're just not. So we're gonna go to one other thing real quick here. We're going to talk about the title update that came out today. We're going to go over it with you guys right there. Madden 19 title update. Welcome back, Madden fans, for a title update to Madden NFL 19. This update is heavily influenced by your community feedback. Yeah, right. Make sure to give us more feedback on the official forums, because they will listen, supposedly. General stability improvements. Additional logging to track online desyncs. Okay, that's good. So that's another thing that's happened. It happened to me. My first game back, instantly had a desync, went up 7-0 desync. Dev note, while our internal tracking shows online desyncs are occurring at a very low rate, when looking across all online play, we realize that any desyncs impacting higher level online competitions have a big impact on play experience. We're continuing to work to drive down the rate, especially focusing on competitive formats, and this tracking will help us identify the causes. So are they just doing stuff for, you know, MUT and basic online? Do they never give a shit about CFM? Tuning. Fumble risk added to ball carriers when using the spin move when hit in the back with a successful hit stick tackle. Huh. Not really sure what that means. With a successful hit stick tackle in the back. So that's probably something that's screwed up. So obviously they're trying to cut down how effective, because as you know, spin move is probably the biggest part of the running game. Especially this Madden, it's been pretty OP. Address an exploit allowing users to avoid the aggressive pass rush coaching adjustment penalty by repeatedly shifting the defensive line back and forth in pre-play. Defenders can now jump offsides while shifting, so guys were shifting out and in, out and in, and they were getting flagged for the they were avoiding penalties by using an exploit, go figure. Additional context added a matchup formula for catches in traffic. Logic added for taking into account additional defenders who are within the proximity to either the receiver or the catch point. So all this, I'm not going to sit here and read all this to you guys. There is some decent changes they've made in here. I'll put the link in the description below. Read through it. They've added some logic for cover 4, cover 3. They say that they're fixing things, but as we know, or what we've seen this Madden, when they fix one thing, it seems like it's broken 3 or 4 other things. And the biggest problem, I guess, where that stems from is the fact that if you don't really understand how they make the game, it's basically just ported over. So it's the meat and potatoes, the nuts and bolts of the game. It's basically been the same, to my knowledge, for the last 10 or 15 years. According to some people, it's been the same game for the last 20 years. And they just make minor adjustments. So that's why you have a lot of these, what they call legacy issues. It's because you're using basically the same coding in 2019, going into 2020, you know, and instead of, I guess they kind of had no choice when you do an annual release of the game that doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to test games, so it's just easy from their standpoint of tuning an existing coding than create all new coding year after year after year. Also, to think they changed the game engine. I don't remember if it's been 2 or 3 years with the current game engine now. I believe it's 2. I'll have to look it up, but that causes some issues because once again you're adding this pretty significant change to the game, but you're using all that old coding, and that's what causes some issues. So hopefully, to be optimistic, and on an optimistic note, it'll be another year under the game engine. Some more tuning can be done. They can change things here or there. Hey, this didn't work, that didn't work. I've got something else I want to talk about, and if you go to Operation Sports, and I'm spitting all over the place, that's great, it's fantastic, it's good for the fans. If you go to Operation Sports, the PC version of Madden has a mod. There's a mod where they've changed how the game behaves, where the defenders go for the ball, and coincidentally now they got it to where the receivers actually go for the ball on a high point instead of just sitting there with the thumb up there. As they changed all kinds of things where the game just behaves more realistic. I got a copy of the game, and it just, with my PC, it just was unable to handle the game, unfortunately. So that'd be something I'd be interested in checking out. Also, they've done, if you can go to Operation Sports to check it out, they've got NCAA mods for the PC. So if you have a good gaming PC and that's something you're interested in trying, check it out, let me know. They've got all kinds of things. They've done stadiums, uniforms, players. It's a lot of work goes in with the PC, and that's what's interesting. You know, like, you go all the way back to Grand Theft Auto 4 where they threw the Batmobile and all that crazy crap in there. PC just allows you a lot more wiggle room in there to have fun with your product. You know, got a lot of guys just love it. They go to town on it. They make all kinds of fun mods. So check that out. It's on Operation Sports. I can't remember the name. I should have looked it up, but there's a good mod out there for you. So if you do have a good PC, check it out. I'm gonna quit mumbling though. Good luck to you the rest of the season. If you're interested in hopping on with me, send me a message, tag me in the chat, holler at me. We'll get on there, just do like a little quick, just an interview, or we can just sit here and do something real informal. You know, we can just sit here and just BS for a little bit. We get on the Discord, just kind of record the chat, add it here to the podcast. You know, it's something different. I know a lot of guys probably think this is pretty boring. They haven't even tuned in for this long, but you got to have new things. That's how you keep the league going. A lot of leagues that die off, I'm sure there's plenty. I think we only have 18 guys out of the 32 that have tenure, that have even been here beyond a season, 2 seasons at most. So, you know, that's roughly half new players that are 3 seasons or less in this league. So obviously it tells you there's a lot of turnover in leagues, and a lot of times that turnover winds up killing leagues. Luckily, we've been going for 3 or 4 Maddens now, 3 or 4 years, to where, you know, we've had longevity. We're establishing longevity. We got a, like I said, half of it is a really good nucleus of guys, and obviously we're always adding good new guys. Just because you don't have experience doesn't mean with the league, or tenure with the league doesn't mean you're not a good player. I think we got a really good core group of guys right now. I'd say up to 31 guys. You know, we just had a new guy join today, so obviously you don't know about that player. It's always exciting though when you get new players. They can add a new dynamic. Maybe this guy will do Photoshop or hop on a podcast with you, just be active in the chat. Maybe this guy will be blowing up Twitter. So you got to have that. You got to all join together and, you know, just kind of use your talents to keep your league going, because without having active guys, you don't have a league. You just sit there and play an offline franchise by yourself, and after 2 years, you're ready to go off yourself in the closet. So anyway, thanks for having me back in the league. Thanks for joining back on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit it with a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out the other podcasts. I believe they're on SoundCloud or iTunes, or both. I don't know. Get with Prime. That's their own thing. Shake and bake, baby. But like, subscribe, take care. Have a great day.